As always, I'm here with my guy. As always, I guess. As oftentimes, I'm here with my guy, Mr. Anthony Schlegel, riding shotgun. I've had some big shows this week. Incredibly excited to continue to keep rolling along here, Schlegs. Continue to do what we do and continue to break down this Buckeye team. Celebrate a little bit with everything that's going on and all the wonders that they have. But now, like you're beginning on Friday, you got the celebration on Sunday, so trying to enjoy that a little bit. Last night Ryan had all the players down to Hyde Park. I'm pretty sure like almost everybody's in town. I didn't ask Cody. Saw him this morning, like how many guys attended, but I'm pretty sure it was fairly well attended, and it was an awesome job by Ryan. You bring the team together because that's kind of the last dance, man. You have that. You've got the deal on Sunday at noon at the shoe. I would encourage everybody to go. And then after that, man, it's GTFO. Dudes are getting out. They're going to train and do crazy things. And so that was the one last kind of hurrah. Just like he's disappeared. He'll pop out.
No, I didn't because the chat's already going. People want to see some caffeine. So we're just going to hit a 300 milligram bang. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Hey, Bob, tell them that quote that you said on Morning Juice today that your dad talked about at the end of the year, because I thought that resonated and I really enjoyed listening to you.
Yeah, nothing breaks up faster than a football team after the season. And he's like, whether that's high school, college, the NFL, high school, it's like, boom, you're going to basketball, you're going to wrestling, you're on to the next. You look around with, in college, guys are going to train for the league. They're going to train different places. Like they've got their own stuff. The new guys are coming back. They've got their leadership just like in high school. In the NFL, you got guys that are free agents that are leaving. You got, guys that, going on vacations with their family. Like everybody just busts up and you're out of there in 3 months. And some of those guys you'll see again in 3 months, in college, a week or two. High school, you'll see them in school. But some of those guys, like, you might not see again for years, maybe a decade. And I remember my third year in Dallas, we had Brad Johnson there with us. And after our last meeting, like I just got a text from Witt, like at 6:30, like, hey, Bull's out. He wants everybody to go. And it was ended up being his last year. And Brad Johnson played 14 years in the league, won a Super Bowl, great human being, did a ton of stuff in the league and really good guy. And we went out that night and it ended up being kind of a crazy night. It was like me, Witt, him, Romo, Brooks Bollinger, who was Brooksy was the quarterback for Wisconsin when I was in school. He was like our third quarterback. There's a couple other guys, and this dude picked us up, and then I don't know if we got a car. There was no Ubers back then. I don't even know how it works, but like we started at a place called Twin Peaks, and I remember it's the first time I'd ever been there. And next thing you know, we're like downtown Dallas, going around wild times, and I'm super drunk in a car heading back to my house at 2:30 in the morning. And then I didn't see Brad again. This is no joke. I did not see Brad Johnson again for about a decade. And I ran into him randomly in Destin, Florida. We were at Witten's house. He was having a party, and the Bull walked in. And it was pretty darn wild. We texted and other stuff, in between times. But, like, that's how it goes, man. You break up. And, college is a little different because everybody comes back for pro day. But some of these guys are going to leave, and they won't see their teammates again until pro day or at the combine. Like, and they're not going to see their current teammates until, like, pro day because they're not going to be at the combine. There's guys that are still at Ohio State. So, dude, it just breaks up. Everybody scatters, and you're on to do your own thing. And that's why the beauty is of this national championship. It gives you this week to kind of celebrate it, and then it always gives you a reason to come back.
Yep.
And so it's exciting to see that. And I was just happy with Ryan and the way it all went down. And told Cody, talked to Lathan, like, dude, enjoy the next couple of days. I know that you're about partied out, and you ain't got to go blow it out, Schlegs, and be wild, man. But at the same time, once Sunday comes, like literally, you're closing the book. Like that's it. Book is shut. That chapter is written, and you're on to the next. And so just enjoy, get as much on those pages, man, as you can, because those will be the memories, and those will be the times that when you're old like Schlegs and I, and you just sit there back and like, that's the stuff you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about the win, but you're going to talk about the plane ride home, the night after the game, the celebration, all of that stuff, the dinner that Ryan put on. Those are the things you're probably going to talk about even more. And so I'm excited for those guys to be able to do that.
Pulling this up right here for you, Bob. Let me see where my camera is.
Oh
right?
yeah,
That's the
right.
stuff that you remember.
I don't even.
I,
It's like a
that
dinosaur, some sort of
was Craig Martin.
dinosaur.
That was Schlegel, T-Rex Schlegel in college
Oh
after about 24 pack
gosh,
of silver
that's
bullets. Like that was, I mean, but like my kids found this, like, Dad, what are you doing? And my wife just started.
oh.
And I'm just like, I was just pretending to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well, why would you do that? Well, why wouldn't I? Why is your shirt off? Why is there a huge martini glass there? I don't drink martini.
The martini glass is the most out of place
Yeah,
thing.
you're damn right, son. I don't drink martinis. Probably shotgunned a 6-pack before we even, just as a warm up. That was my winning warm up there. You know what I mean? To get me rolling. But you made a great point. And then we had Lathan on, and then Lathan called me randomly because I was flying in yesterday, and he was at the Armory because Viv, his girlfriend who played soccer at Cincinnati, is trained to be a professional soccer player. So she's up here training, and we were literally just talking about the show and what he's going to do, and he's going to go end up training in Orlando and all of these different schematics. And it's so funny because even my high school wrestling team that won state, it's so amazing what you said, Bob, really resonated because when you're in high school, same thing in college, and you're on a team and you go and win a championship. I haven't seen some of these guys in literally 25 years.
Yeah.
And in the moment, that's all you do. That's the most important thing that's going on. And you're with them day in and day out. And then life just happens. Whether you stay on the team and you're working for another one, or you're going to the NFL, or you're in the NFL and guys are displaced and guys begin to start having families, and then you're not seeing them as much, right? Because they've all been married and, et cetera, right? It's just different. That's also why I think Ohio State is different. And that's because a lot of us come back and live here. And now guys that I coached and that you're in there with are now our friends. And you see them on a daily basis in the Woody, or they come back and you'll see them on the sideline, or regardless, they're in the community doing philanthropic things, giving back. That's kind of the beauty of it. But you got to cherish this time. And I appreciate what I heard you say on the Morning Juice and why I thought it was, relevant here.
All right, and now on to that, like talking about breaking up. This came out this morning, and I'd heard rumblings of this, and everybody knows, like NIL. Like the thing is, they've got 5 days for these guys to enter the window, and so like today is kind of D-Day, Schlegs, to get a lot of this wrapped up. And so all the coaches should be enjoying this, players should be enjoying this. At the same time, it's like, let me try to keep this team together. The guys who are coming back, and throw that up, Pat, with regards to Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. We got elite receivers, and the reality is there's some schools out there that are trying to poach them, and I think they're going to do whatever it takes to keep Jeremiah, which it makes sense. It's going to be multi-million-dollar deal. The guy's maybe the best player in college football, definitely the best receiver. But Carnell Tate is pretty damn good, and he would be a one at just about anywhere else. And I'd heard this, that Oregon had been snooping around for a while, and like, okay, how much can you offer your number 2 guy when someone else is offering them money to be their number 1? And so like that comes into play. Like, listen, we might not be able to offer you quite as much because we got to pay other positions. Are you here for the development? Are you here for the value? Like, how much do you value playing beside of Jeremiah, and getting balls thrown at you from either Lincoln or Julian saying, like, those things really matter. And how much do you like playing here? Like, how much do you like Brian Hartline?
Yeah.
And so like all of those things, like they're fighting, like those coaches are scrapping, like, hey, if we get close, does that matter? Like, can we be close? We can't match it, but like if we're within, if it's 1-1-5, if we're 1-2-5, and people are like, well, it's only $250,000. Like $250,000 is a lot of money. Like, and so I'll never tell anybody what to do, but I will say this: like these guys right now are in the fight of their lives trying to keep this roster together and to make sure that you have this team moving forward with what is supposed to be coming back.
Oh man, Bob. It's so difficult. And let's talk about the scenario since we're doing this. So you leave, you go somewhere else. It's a new strength staff. It's a new playbook. It's a new wide receiver coach. New quarterback. Because if you're looking at Oregon, who's going to be Oregon's quarterback? They're trying to find somebody. You already know that you have, a group of guys at Ohio State, and then St. Clair's coming in, and like you already kind of have that, but you also have Chip Kelly there, and you see what you already did in your freshman year, and now what that can be. And what is the value of that? What do you do you value your development to be NFL ready? And do you believe that that guy would be able to do that? Now, again, this is a different situation. We're talking about potentially Jeremiah, who people could say could be a top 5 pick in this year's draft. How much more development does he need? And so, like, that's something that they got to weigh in on themselves. And what is that value of staying in Columbus, Ohio, and doing those type of things? Those are all going to come into play. And we also haven't got down to where we have 105 scholarship players. They haven't come out with how they're going to do the disbursement of the revenue for the TV money. Like, we're still in this gray zone. So while they also navigate all of this to keep the roster that they have, there's all these other things that are complete speculation and in the air. But they have to go make that choice and whether or not they want to go do that. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, you're going to be a featured guy and we guarantee you we're going to give you X amount. But like at the end of the day, you got to go win games. And we saw that there was a wide receiver that went for Pitt, that won the Blitnikoff, that went to USC. That was not
Jordan Addison.
It was not the same guy when he went to USC.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, and Marvin, even the first year when NIL was really kicking up, I know for a fact he could have left Ohio State and got more money, but chose to stay, though I view the money at that time that he could have got was significantly less than what they're, reporting that Jeremiah could get. So that's the hardest thing. Now, the one thing that you could say about Brian Hartline is Brian Hartline has said, like, one of the best things they've done in their room is develop their room and not have taken a transfer portal guy in that room. And that's why he's able to get the 5-star guys and to say, hey, man, you are an integral part of this. And I think the best thing they did for Jeremiah was they utilized him in a bunch of different areas. And that was kind of around that midway mark toward the end of the season. He just wasn't flex. They were moving around, creating the mismatches.
Some of that's his aptitude, Schlegs, and his ability to learn that. Like, that's tough.
That's huge. I mean, that's the same thing we talked about Sunday, coming from safety to linebacker, but not only linebacker, he learned all 3 positions because when we were going to a 4-3, he was playing a Sam. Then Cody was out the first game. Now he's playing a Mike when he's truly a Will, and you literally just came from safety. You know what I mean? So kudos to those guys, but it's something that they got to wrestle with, man, and navigate while they try to build this roster, in which I thought they did a good job in the portal in the midst of a playoff run for a national championship. Like, that in and of itself is absolutely crazy in my mind.
And here's the thing, like, I talked to Cody Simon this morning on my show Morning Juice in Columbus, and Cody was a 4-year dude who didn't play at all until his 5th year, like as a full-time starter. And like, I mean, and Cody's a hell of a player. And it showed this year, but like, I don't know, like, you're not going to have those type of guys anymore. It's going to be really hard to keep guys who aren't on the field. And, a lot of that's conversations and that's trust with your coaches. Like, you've got to trust that they're being honest with you. They're telling you, like, this is what's going to happen. We're going to try our best to get you on the field. We'll do as much as we can with you. And so, like, with Carnell Tate, like, you got to trust Brian Hartline. Like, they've got depth at wide receiver. You got Brandon Ennis coming up. He's going to replace Mecca's spot. They've got a lot of good young guys who are out there. And so it comes down to, like, allocation of dollars, Schlegs, and allocation of assets. And you get this, you're running the armory of, like, yeah, man, I'd like to pay everybody $1 million and build all this and build all that. But unfortunately, there's finite resources of how you have to allocate and what do you deem as the most important and where is the value at and how that's all going to look. And so while we're celebrating right now, this is all great. I mean, I'm hoping, like, you can keep Carnell, but then can you not keep anybody else? And so I don't know how that's going to work. And also too, the reported offers, like, and I believe for Carnell, they're probably legit because people probably view him as a number 1 receiver. Hartline said it all along. And I mean, he only caught 2 balls, but it's 35 yards in the championship. Like, he had some big catches. It's just a matter of targets for him. And he's had some big games this year, but like, what you're hearing is real. Like, this isn't the NFL where you have a good sense, like, this team's offering him that, this team's offering him that, and you know what teams can offer because of a salary cap. Here, it's kind of limitless, and nobody knows what everybody else is ultimately making. There is no free, like, marketplace to be able to check that. So there's a lot of tentacles there, a lot of tentacles.
A lot of tentacles and a lot of potential, like, tampering, right? And this is the problem with having
no one's monitoring that. People get upset, and I'm like, go yell at the sky. Like, I'm not telling you it isn't wrong. I'm just telling you that there is no oversight. Like the adults have created this terrible system, and it's not Mark Emmert and everybody just let it get to this point, and now that you're literally Schlegs, like you let the dam break, and now everybody's just trying to build boats.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something where the sooner we can get all of this stuff taken care of to one portal, some type of cap, even because remember everybody goes into like how do you make it even for everybody? Well, then at some point there's going to have to be a cap.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, what does that look like, and how do you divvy up that money? And that's also where let's not kid ourselves, right? Like this is why you brought Ross Bjork in, right? Like, how do you navigate these waters in a market like Columbus, Ohio, a top 15 city? How can you allocate the resources of your players in football, potentially other sports, to go generate revenue for them on the side through NIL deals that can help lift that money that you're able to give them through Ohio State? Now, again, remember, guys, they can go in the portal twice a year. So, like, and I don't even know the structure of these deals, Bob. Where is it guaranteed? Do you have to like? We already know that you don't have to play out the totality of your contract because there are no contracts. So you don't even have to play out the entire full year, which goes into roster management. There's just so many holes in this entire system. And to couple that, I know we didn't have the tweet, but then you also add on the fact that people are also suiting your D coordinator. That could potentially get, the rumor is, there's Oklahoma, there's Penn State, there's Notre Dame interested, and everybody's talking about a $3 million contract now to be a defensive coordinator. Where are you in the mix? So not only are you thinking about roster management and keeping the band together, but you're also thinking about your coaching staff. All of that pile of money has to be divvied out in some way.
Oh, yeah.
And then what is that money? And then if you're sitting there and you're like Ryan Day, like, where's all, like, man, Mark Fantoni, Ryan Day, Ross, like, dude, you're going to need a big-ass whiteboard, man.
Yeah. Instead of
you're going to need some bands and a big-ass whiteboard.
Yeah, instead of bands, dude, instead of celebrating, dude, they're in a meeting. Like I went to pop by Ryan's office and he's in a meeting. Of course he is. And he's probably going to be in meetings all day long, all day tomorrow, talking to Ross, talking to whomever, President Carter, getting approval. I mean, if they're trying to do this, because let's get into that next a little bit. Schlegs, and we're going to get into some other stuff and Q saying goodbye and everything else after this. But first, I want to tell you about Export. Parents, athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards. Trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including patented use of carbon fiber. They're custom, uniquely printed to your own smile with a 3D printer, man. It's phenomenal. It means more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication, Lou. So you can focus on your game, Schlegs, not on your gear. I needed you to laugh a little bit. Don't take chances.
I know. I was laughing. I'm laughing. I'm sorry, man. I love your Lou Holtz impression.
At least you're not using the hot call, like AJ said. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby. Save 15% on Export. Protect what matters most. The coaching, the defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles. Stay or go. Find out next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. Let me read something off to you, Schlegs. Start talking about the defenses or the offenses that this Ohio State defense played this year and how good they were. Notre Dame, 10th ranked offense. Oregon, 17th ranked offense. Texas, 29th ranked offense. Penn State, 28th ranked offense. Tennessee, 12th ranked. Indiana, 2nd ranked offense. That's some of the teams they played this year. Oregon twice, by the way. And Jim Knowles did a hell of a job. And now he is obviously getting courted by Oklahoma. I didn't realize Penn State was in the mix. How does that look? Do we have the tweet, Pat? Can we throw that up there about Jim Knowles potentially getting courted? I don't know what his deal looks like. I know they paid Chip Kelly a ton to get here. President Carter had to sign off on it. Is Ryan meeting with Ross Bjork? Is he meeting with President Carter? Is he meeting with agents? Like, all that stuff is in play today that they're trying to figure out of who's going to be a part of this team moving forward. And you've got a great DC who this year put together an epic run. Now, some of that was the fact you had really veteran players, but they played out your system as well as possible, and they did one hell of a job in the playoff. As good as the offense was, the defense was just as good in making those big plays. So I would be inclined to keep Jim Knowles. There is a price, Legs, like we could allocate that money better somewhere else. I don't know what that price is. I don't know what the university was willing to pay because that's not NIL, and that's coming directly out of the university and athletic fund, and they've got a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of sports. There's a lot of expenses.
Yeah. Woo. So we're getting in the mix of like, where does all this money go? And it actually goes back to when you saw the breakdown of the Big Ten versus the other conferences, and then just Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame earned $20 million over this, whereas the Big Ten earned 46 divided between its members.
Yeah, so that's how. Well, for folks that don't know, the
Go
Big
ahead.
Ten, the SEC is the same way. I know the Big 12 didn't used to. There was differences. I don't know how it is now, but the Big Ten, all the bowl money goes into a pot, and then it's broken up evenly. And so, like Ohio State making all these national championship games, making all these runs, like they're dumping into the pot. Purdue has been they've been a panhandle. They're pulling from the pot. Ohio State is throwing money in the red kettlebell. So that's the issue. So Notre Dame, they don't have a conference. They're keeping all those dollars. So they get a lot to spend on coaches right now and players.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean that's the hardest thing, and I'm with the group chat on this. Like, who do you think is ready to take over the reins of that? And Joel Klatt had a really good quote. I'm gonna put it on here. It's that Joe Klatt on Ryan Day, the CEO, not the OC. And then he said this, guys, I don't think Ohio State gets through all the adversity that they were able to get through unless Ryan Day can be the CEO and was the CEO, which means he had Chip Kelly. And it's the same thing on the defensive side of the ball, right? But you have an offensive-minded coach that can help on the offense, significantly more difficult to say, hey, let's go run this defense, right?
Yeah.
On that side. So
it's tough to work in the business and on the business.
And work on the business. And we're seeing that. Could you guys imagine, again, I'm throwing this out there, and why I thought it was so important that Chip Kelly came into there, somebody he unequivocally trusts. And that's when you're putting a business together, you got to have the right people on the bus, and he completely trusts Chip. It allows you to go and see it at a 30,000 foot level, but also work on the portal like that. Hey, OC, like I got you, like I got that, right? I can go do those different things and sit there and have these conversations in these meetings that we're doing right now, because you're going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on running the business, roster management, staff. Like that's his job. And it's hard to do that when you're in it, easier to do it when you're on it, still significantly difficult in the times we are right now in 2025.
Do we have the Quinshawn goodbye?
Yeah, it's on there.
Why don't we pull that up?
Yeah, Q says goodbye. It's right above JJ and Tate.
Perfect.
Getting some value.
And Quinshawn, people are wondering, like, could he come back? I was like, I think he came here for a one-year deal to split time. He had a boatload of carries. He had like almost 800 carries between 2 years at Tennessee. This year, he got about half of his normal allotment. Still rushed for a G, and we'll get into that, some of the things. But, talking about all his coaches, his teammates, going all the way from high school to Ole Miss, winning a national championship, what Coach Day means to him, it's pretty impressive. To Coach Day, I want to thank you for the opportunity to learn and love and what it truly means to be a Buckeye. To Coach Lachlan, Thank you for challenging me each and every practice, pushing me to peak performance. To the entire Ohio State coaching and support staff, thank you for believing in me and to represent the Ohio State Buckeyes. And thanks, Coach Kiffin. Thanks, everybody. To my teammates at Ohio State and Ole Miss, this journey doesn't start or end with you. You will be forever my brother. And hereinafter, share the journey. Happy to share the journey with you. To Buckeye Nation, thank you for taking a kid from Alabama, continually showing your support. I am forever a Buckeye and will carry the time spent on campus playing in the shoe with me for a lifetime. Winning a national championship was the best end to the journey, and I'm excited for the next step in my football career. And for a guy that came in, Q came in and worked. He was selfless. Him and Trey had an instant bond. Lachlan pushed him. Trey was a home run hitter, and Trey can do a lot. I mean, Q is a thick dude, and he was a perfect
225.
He was a perfect compliment to Trey to be the hammer. And I was glad Trey had a lot of great games. And then in the national championship, Q kind of got his chance to shine, had the big run, and obviously the 3 touchdowns. And so those guys had an unbelievable run with both having a G apiece, obviously rushing during the year too.
Yeah, think about that. Like, I just pulled it up. It's in the show chat, but 13 touches, 121 yards, total yards, 3 touchdowns. And I love the fact that they started getting them incorporated into the passing game. But Q was always there. We saw it in the middle of the season when Q started to start the games, right? And Trey came in, and in the speed that we saw Trey hit some of those home runs, the Texas game, the Oregon game, right? Like, why? Because he's fresh. They both got 1,000 yards. Honestly, it's unprecedented. We had 2,000-yard receivers and 2,000-yard running backs this year. That's another stat that's in the show sheet somewhere.
Yeah, pull that up. Throw that up there while we're talking about Schlegs. You keep going.
Okay, so it's right below the Q in the Natty game. So, and then this goes back kind of what we were talking about, guys. What is the value proposition of Ohio State? And one thing I said when I was in the NFL, our job is to maximize your value and extend your career, or that could potentially be to develop to where you have a faster, better career. Because again, the rookie contracts are the rookie contracts. You make your money on the second contract. So how do you do that? You've seen it, right? You're an Ohio State wide receiver. You've gone to the league. Like, those guys are producing, winning, offensive rookie of the year, et cetera, right? Prolific guys, number 1 receivers on their team. Why is that? Well, it's just because they've been developed by Brian Hartline, and you win a national championship. Does it bode better for me to go take some of this money and maybe be the featured guy, but now they don't have any more money to pay for the other 2 guys that opened me up? Like, those are all the things that you're talking about. And when you look at what JJ did, but you also had a Mecca there that had 1,000 yards, and you also had who also had the most receptions by any Buckeye ever. And then you also had what Carnell Tate did, who had games where he was better than the other 2 wide receivers because he is a bona fide number 1, just happens to be, as far as receiving yardage, our 3rd. But it doesn't mean he's any less valuable. But, like, what does that mean when you could stay together and win championships, but also bode well for what you want to achieve in the NFL? Because the NFL coaches are not looking at what's your stat line. They're just looking at good versus good, elite versus elite. And like, are you there or are you not? They understand the roles. They understand the schematics of the offense that you're playing. So regardless of where you are, like, what does that look like? And to me, I can't speak for them because, again, we're talking millions of dollars. Like, this is unprecedented waters that we're in. But what is it? It goes back to, what is it that you want to do? And at Ohio State, you got to somehow find that balance to make sure you maintain that culture, that chemistry, and why we ultimately want to be here. And that's to win championships, to be a great teammate, and then to be developed so that we can have early success in the NFL that leads to further success in the NFL through your second contract when you really get paid.
Absolutely. And, part of the things getting paid, we talked about Q. I want to throw the 2 up about Trey before we move on.
Throw it, because they're amazing.
We'll start out with the no fumbles, and you can throw
Oh
that
my
up
gosh, bro.
quick. I mean, this is remarkable.
This is crazy talk, man.
I mean, through Trey's career, as we put this up, first of all, he set a freshman record for touchdowns, and that's with guys coming through like Zeke, Archie Griffin, Maurice Claret, Beanie Wells, elite players. 667 touches, 4,600 career yards, 48 career touchdowns, a 6.9 average, 0 fumbles for Travion Henderson. Like, that doesn't even make sense Like, you talk about a guy and a commitment to the craft and a tough dude. I mean, not a fumble in 4 years, my man. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a testament. I mean, honestly, guys, I got to sit there and watch because Trey and Q trained with Mick right next to me. And the way that they push each other, the way that they embrace competitive excellence, and the way they went about that, and how Coach Locke coached them. I truly like Coach Bailey with the tight ends because he was in there, and I just respect the hell of him. I got to work with a lot of them.
After he tried to challenge you, Slugs, you had to step.
It was beautiful, but that's what you do, man. Like you got to enjoy that, man. Like that's part of what we're doing. We're all coaching with the same urgency. Like that to me is winning coaching. Anyways, so what he did with the tight ends, but how Coach Locke coached these guys really, really hard, tone different in certain instances, right? That's the art of coaching. I love watching Coach Locke be authentically him. But the fact that Trey had 0 fumbles, and then show the next clip, Pat, because both Q and Trey, my thing that I respect about them the most is what they did when they didn't have the ball in their hand. Throw that clip up. This is a clip of the play that secured the national championship game. The long pass, 3rd and 11. It's the one right below it. Yep. There. Watch this, everybody.
I mean, this is Trey, and this is unbelievable. You see the back.
Watch the running back. 3rd and 11, people.
Blitzing linebacker. They shift to an odd front. Bam.
Bam.
Locks him in. No penetration because you can't get in Will's lap. You get in Will's lap, he can't step through it and make that throw. And you saw Q blocking for Trey against Texas. That's Trey blocking for Will. They do that for each other. So like, we're long for a break. I want to get back into Ryan Day a little bit after this, flipping the script, what he's done against top 5 teams. Big deal. We got that coming up next.
The Big Play Sports Network. Download the free app today to watch all of your favorite hosts on demand.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer. All right, Slikes. Now we're talking a little Ryan Day and what he was able to do. Coming this year, I think at one point, Slikes, he was 2-7 against top 5 teams, but like 8-7 against top 10 teams, or 9-8.
He was 2-5. He was 2-5 come in. 2-5.
But then he lost to Oregon, so I think he was 2-6.
Right.
And then he was 2-6, but I think like 8-7 against top 10. So like, what does a couple spots make? 2-5. We can throw this graphic up here. In this season, he was 5-1, with his only loss being to Oregon, which legs then he was able to invert and be able to get the redemption in the second round in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, pretty incredible. But I mean, again, I think it goes back to a lot of factors and when those approached in the season. The Oregon game, again, 3 versus 1 at Oregon. Had an opportunity to win the football game. Some errors in there. An offensive PI that was terrible. Both teams had opportunities throughout the game. And it came down to you had a 1-point loss, good on good, at their stadium. Charge it to win it. Changes were made. Started to roll. You beat Indiana. You beat whatever. I forget the order. Penn State, Indiana. And then you also had the Michigan. But then, boom. Flip scripts even again, and just the urgency of the guys and the mindset of the guys. When guys talk like that, a lot of it is what they hear from the podium in those team meeting rooms. but they also completely believe it. And that's why you're able to go on this run. And 5-1 completely changes the narrative. So now, what is he? 7-6 versus top 5 all time. And again, we went back 70-10 as a record. Second highest winning percentage in college football history. Pretty impressive. Damn good football coach. And I always say this too. Football coaching is about maximizing people's genetic potential. And there was a great stat of like the stars of the guys. And like Will Howard was a 3-star, 850th in the country, whatever. A 61% career passing completion percentage. And he comes to Ohio State through Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, changes his body in the weight room, and sets the all-time record for completions at Ohio State over what C.J. Stroud did. That's amazing. That's coaching. You're getting the best out of your players. So kudos to him.
All right. Put a little break in that. Coming up next, we got some headlines. We're going to stick with Ryan Day and maybe a little bit of redemption, Slags, on some things that were said about him. The kids call it, quote, keeping the receipts. So some receipts were kept. Those were thrown out there. And then also one of my good friends, Albert Breer, who works for Amazon the Thursday nights, MMQB, phenomenal dude. Buckeye, by the way. He's from New England, from the Boston area, but he's a Buckeye alum. And did something pretty cool that he wants to try to get viral out there. And big fan of Ryan Day. Obviously, Ryan was a BC guy and from New Hampshire. So there's a little bit of connection right there as well. So we got that here coming up next in our headlines.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media.
All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. We got some headlines for you. Listen.
Hey, Bob, look who I got here. Dan Senser right here. Buckeye, head of sports science for the Ohio State football team. He's in at the Armory getting bumpy. Come here, get in here, Dan.
Come
get in
on.
here closer.
What's up, Bob?
It's like we got to get Dan, Dr. Dickel, a pair of the Rocky boots. I mean, he's the only one that doesn't have them.
You don't have any?
I don't have any.
Hey, charge it to win it. Rocky, I'm coming. Hey, SV, what size shoe?
10.
Size 10.
I already got
Guess
the
what?
info.
Charge it to winning. The best sports scientist, Dr. Dan Dickel. Actually, did you invent that whiskey? Are you related to them?
I'm related. It's my uncle.
Okay, nice.
Uncle
nice.
Dickel.
Goes smooth, Uncle Dickel, man. So, anyways, I just want everybody to see Dan. He's just popping in. So we'll get back to the show. But anyways, he's the best. We can get in the weeds of this all day, but he's fantastic. All right, Doc. I'll see you later.
See you, Bob.
Absolutely, Dr. Dickel. He told me that today, and I go, Dan, we're gonna have to remedy that.
See you,
Dan
bro.
always checks my HRV, my heart rate variability, to make sure I'm operating at elite high level with everything. It's great that he popped by as well, Schleich.
Guys, I just want you guys to think about, you didn't really hear about a lot of soft tissue injuries. You got 16 game season.
They were the healthiest team. They lost 2 offensive linemen to tendon ruptures this year, both on turf. That was basically
on contact. Yeah, on contact.
Yeah, like contact
which is
turf
different.
injuries. I mean, they had everybody else available for him in the national championship game. Like that's utterly remarkable.
And you go back and you look at, and I talk about this all the time in 2014, the only person that didn't start the season and end the season was the quarterback position.
Yeah. It's Braxton and JT. Outside of that, and those are shoulders and everything else. Yeah, Buckeyes. So it was tremendous. I don't even know where talking about keeping receipts and everything else that's going on. Let's throw that up there. It's the keeping receipts, the Ryan Day, the redemption tour of everything that was said about him.
He should go.
I'd fire him on the field.
And you look at Coach Day, and everybody that beats him does so because they're more physical than Ohio State. And I think
you got to fire Ryan Day.
Take that same approach. I know that our schedule hasn't been the best.
Listen, Slags. Everybody that beats Ryan Day does so because they're more physical. It's
you're so good. You're so good at that.
Team. I'm 88 years old, Slags. I deadlift 600 pounds every single day. I know you can't do that, Softy, and there's no way Ryan Day can. Let me slide back here in this chair a little more. But all those things happened, and like it was so beautiful. All of the stuff, like all the haters, and for him, and also like the other guy that I don't think is getting enough is Justin Fry. And we got our dudes of the week. Like Justin Fry, we talked about that offensive line. The two guys you brought in as transfers both didn't play in the national title run. And one is an All-American. The other one, is going to be a first or second round draft pick. And then Seth McLaughlin at center literally won the Remington. And those are the two dudes you didn't have. And Justin Fry was able to conjure up some magic, develop the rest of those guys. This guy can't coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a bad recruiter. Dude, he was a magician out there working those guys. And I know I've said it, but gosh, people want him fired too. He's a good coach. You know why? Because I watch him coach, and I've seen good coaches. I've seen bad ones. He's good. But our guy, Albert Breer, if we can throw this up, this post, folks, I'm asking you to do this. Breer's an awesome dude, and he was like, we got to get this going viral. I go, I'll talk about my show. I'm going to retweet it. We're going to post it. We're going to get it going. Awesome week for Ohio State. Wanted to show my appreciation for it. So I gave to the Day Fund, to the Pediatric and Adolescent Mental Health and Wellness. Great cause. To all my fellow alumni, let's see how much we can raise. All Buckeye Nation, anybody that's watching out there. Folks, I don't care if it's $5, $10. You got $100. Whatever. For those that do not know, Ryan is a huge, huge advocate of mental health because he lost his father when he was young at 8 years old. And, that's why I think he relates and connects so well to these guys because he's been through a lot of stuff. He's seen a lot of things. And I talked about on the show earlier in the week. I mean, on the day that his dad passed is the day that he won the national championship. And so I'm going to donate. I ask anybody, whatever it is you can spare, to support Ryan and Nina and everything they have done. Took a lot of shells this year. So I'm asking you to go out there and do that. They do a great job, and they're huge advocates of it. And it's important to them because it's personal, Schlags.
Yeah, it is. And so I just put it in the group chat, that link. And it is. And I mean, when you come to Ohio State and we heard this knock too, right? He's not an Ohio guy, Bob. He doesn't understand what it means to be a Buckeye because he's not from here. And I can say this, I'm not from here either, but I bleed scarlet and gray. And to what Tress's point was, I thank God that he made me a Buckeye, just like Will Howard. And you don't necessarily have to be from here to be all about here. And Ryan is that. And he does the one thing that Woody Hayes says that all Buckeyes do, and that's you pay it forward. And this is how they do that, by bringing awareness to mental health. And coming from a background like I did with both of my parents, struggling from that, and it's a real thing. And so, I appreciate everybody that does go and donate, and it's near and dear to their heart. And that part of the thing for us, Bob, is you and I see coaches. We see, going back to the Tress's point, they don't care about how much you know till they know how much you care. And Ryan cares about these dudes individually, as well as their role within the team. And he wants to develop them, and he coaches them hard. And they talk about love, and love is not like a term that you just throw around and it's not soft. There can be tough love too. And they talk about fighting. And you just got to get up and like he talked about, like, what do you got to do? I just got to go through and fight. I got to fight my way through this. And that's what they did. And they did it as a team. And here's the other thing too. One of the things that caught me, and I don't know if it resonated with anybody else, but when Nina hugged him at the end of the game, right? It was like, I can't believe you did this. And always remember, right? Out of the mouth floweth the heart. And he said, we did it. It's all about the we. And Ryan knows that. And that's what great leaders are all about. So anyways, I hope everybody donates.
Absolutely. All right. We got our tailgate talk brought to you by Real Truck coming up next.
Get the most out of work, life, and all your outdoor adventures with top-selling upgrades for your truck. Guaranteed fit, free shipping, easy install, expert support, and thousands of dealers just a click away. Bring your truck to life. Real Truck. Upgrade today and save between $50 and $400 on select Real Truck products. Visit realtruck.com/specials.
All right, welcome back into the show. Thanks for tuning in here. Like, subscribe, leave our comments. We love it. The chat's been firing away. The comments have been terrific. The show's great guests. I'm going to work to get some more of the guys on here over the next couple of weeks. They're going to start training for the combine. And so I want to stay up to date with them. So stay locked in here as we try to do that as well. But listen, make sure you go to realtruck.com. They sponsor our tailgate talk. It's where we get to talk and interact with you. And it's the best part because it's the best place to go to outfit your truck, Jeep, Bronco, whether it's a bed cover, whether it's a bumper, whether it's a winch, seat covers, coolers, everything. They've got it there for you. I've gotten so much stuff from there, and now my Jeep's in the garage because it's snowing. I can't wait to take it out and get the winch going, Schlegs, and just rip some stuff down, just doing dude stuff with dude things. So excited about that. And here's the best part for our listeners here. You go to realtruck.com, you spend $100, you're going to get free shipping on your products. And that's some big stuff. So it can really make a difference for you. So go check them out. Realtruck.com. Bring your truck to life, just like Schlegs and I have. All right. Here we go. Yeah, you don't have to use the promo code. Check that. It's even better. It's just free shipping if you spend $100.
Free shipping.
No Buckeyes. Right there. All right, Schlegs, we got a comment. We only had time for one today because we got to get to our dudes of the week and everything else. We'll get to them next week. Listen, dude, we got plenty of time. Plenty of time here. I want to get to this. This is from Tomash Shed when 3662 said, according to the history books, during the last notable visit of an Ohioan to Atlanta, the city burned to the ground. This time, a group of Ohioans made a notable visit to Atlanta and the city froze. But just the same, it turned out to be another night Old Dixie was driven down. As an Ohioan, as a Columbusite, I couldn't be more delighted. Here we go. Hold on, Shaggy.
I love it. Props.
Get some props, dude. Get some props. So I couldn't get Sherman Saber because Sherman's from Lancaster, Ohio. But I did get this book, Schlegs, out of his library. I spent far more on this book than any other book that I put together. Signed by our boy Billy T. Sherman from his personal library right here. Let me see if it's about to fall apart. I don't want to break it. Yeah, right there. Oh, I got all kinds of little newspaper nuggets in here and everything else. It's by Grant and Sherman. Or it's about Grant and Sherman. It was in his personal library. It's not in the greatest shape. Schlegs, here it is. It's about, oh, there we go. How about this? This looks like something you could have read over at Air Force, Schlegs. What's it called? Grant and Sherman, Campaigns and Generals. How about that? Buckeyes.
It's beautiful. Buckeyes.
And literally, General Sherman. Now, he went to West Point, but Buckeye in his heart, always. And from Lancaster, Ohio, Schlegs. How about that?
That's all that matters, man. Buckeyes. The North has come. The North has come early, right? What was that quote that Will said? I thought that was unbelievable. Do you remember that, Bob?
About the North?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I don't remember.
That was a great quote. And that, honestly, like, those are the things that you remember on this run, guys. It's all the personalities. And that's why I love this team. Like, they had so many different personalities. You had Lathan and Caleb, and you had Cody, like this stoic guy. And then, like, Jack is just like, right? And
Jack's definitely cursing up during the deal, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I heard you guys talking about how many dumps you're going to have on his deal. And then Will and, like, Trey and Q and G.
Many dumps on your chest, Slugs.
Yeah, thank you. So you love the personalities, man. It's what makes the team. What a great team that we had this year, man.
Absolutely.
The best national champs.
Absolutely. It'll be open at 10:30. It'll start at noon Sunday at the Horseshoe. Coming up next, final segment. And it's Dude of the Week time. Stay tuned. All right, Schleiks. Time for Do of the Week as we wrap up the show on this wonderful Friday. And my Do of the Week guy I had on the show this morning, and he is a monument to perseverance.
Yeah.
In an era where everybody wants hop in the portal, go somewhere else. How much money can I get? I'm not playing here. The coach doesn't like me. Am I good enough? What's going on? Cody Simon stayed here for 4 years and really didn't play. He became the Blanco Award winner. He became a captain. He became a Rose Bowl MVP and a national championship defensive MVP. The guy was remarkable. He was the leader. He was the communicator. Him and Lathan did a lot of that front to back, fifth-year guys. And it just given so much. Ty Hamilton, another fifth-year guy, and like in an era where you could just dip out. And like Cody has never been, he's super smart, but has never been one to be in front of the camera, all this stuff. I go, buddy, you're going to be the captain. You're going to have to talk to everybody. You're going to have to get out there in front of the microphone. He's gotten a lot better at it now, and he's only going to get better because he works at everything he does. He's smart as hell. He's an awesome dude, phenomenal human. I'm happy to call him a friend, elated to call him a national champion, and forever a Buckeye. Cody Simon, who you got, Sean?
Cody Simon is one of the Buckeye greats in my book. Just a great human. Mine's going to be Donovan Jackson, Donnie, but it's Donnie along with the other boys, right? And Fryer, because I absolutely love Josh, like he's fantastic. And then throw Jimmy in there, throw Seth, a Remington Award winner. Boom, poof, David Copperfield, they're out. Donnie pops out. That's why he's my guy. Okay, you're like one of the best guards in the country. We need you at tackle. National championship game, guys. 27 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures allowed, 87.8. And you look at what they did against Notre Dame, and we talked about Notre Dame's game plan. They rushed for 214 yards in that game and won the time of possession by, I don't know, it was 32.5 to 27.5. So, and that's after a 9-minute, 45-second drive to start the game. So, Donnie, all the guards, right? All the guards, Tegra and then Austin and then Luke and Carson, like offensive line, Coach Fry, you guys did a phenomenal job because that was one area that everybody was thinking about, and you did it, and you did it in a convincing fashion. But Donnie, your sacrifice, just saying, hey, it's all about the team. You need me to go out there against some of the best that's out there. I'll do it and I'll hold it down. And you did a phenomenal job.
It was tremendous, man. Great guys, great opportunity. We got the celebration. Hopefully everybody heads out there. It's going to be a balmy day. It'll be like 30 degrees in Columbus Lake. So how can you hate that? You can't. Buckeyes, stay locked in. We'll break it down on Monday at 12:30.